All right, Aaron, good Brad, my friends. Can we all hear me in the back? We can hear me? Perfect. Can you hear that? Now, I know that the Dublin accent is losing me points already with this audience, but I will hasten to say that my grandmother was a Murphy from Railway Street in Killarney Town. So this is sort of my ancestral homeland in a lot of ways. I have a lot of great memories of Kerry. So I'm very pleased to be speaking here tonight with you all. I'd like to thank you for coming out. Some of you might have seen that there was a small group of communist crackpots who attempted to get this event shut down prematurely, which is what totalitarians always do when they're losing the argument. But for that reason, I would also like to thank the hotel for being fair and not giving in to this intimidation by radical thugs. And lastly, I'd like to thank People Before Profit, because in trying to sabotage this free assembly of concerned citizens, they've not only exposed their own intolerance, but led to an article in the Irish Independent about this event. So thank you very much for the free promotion from one Eurosceptic party to another. I appreciate that greatly. It's nice to have allies out here. So the title of this event is Why Ireland Must Be Free, and that's very fitting as we find ourselves in the home of the great Daniel O'Connell, the Liberator. That was a man who knew what freedom was, and freedom is a much misunderstood concept that cuts to the core of who we are as a people. Freedom is the central value that our nation was founded upon. Our national anthem says, "Free Vod Ve Ser." We are sworn to be free. And it's essential as we enter this new chapter of our nation's history that we remember that. But when was the last time that you heard one of our politicians mention freedom? They talk about a lot of politically correct modernist values. They talk about tolerance and equality and diversity and inclusivity and all of these things, but never liberty. I don't remember the last time I've heard a politician talk about that. What about the freedom to determine our future as a country and as individuals? For all their projected plans and schemes for Ireland 2040, our politicians, they don't seem particularly interested in that. Micheál Martin said in a speech not too long ago that Ireland wants nothing to do with a backward-looking idea of sovereignty, and that he remains absolutely committed to the ideals of the European Union. So the leader of Fianna Fáil thinks that the national sovereignty that Irish heroes bled and died for is a backward idea. So I put the question to you, does Micheál's vision of Ireland sound like a free Ireland to you? No. Under Leo Varadkar, the unelected Fine Gael Taoiseach, we're now net contributors to Europe. We pay them over €1 billion every single year to write our laws and impose rules on us. A man that you didn't vote for is giving your money away to unelected foreign bureaucrats so that they can control your life. I ask again, does that sound like a free Ireland to you?
No.
Well, it's not in their interest for you to run your own life because they think that we're too dumb. They think that we need our European masters to tell us how to do things or we won't be able to function. But there is one occasion when they'll mention the word free, and it's usually around election time when they're offering you so-called free stuff, free housing, free healthcare, free education. And sure, who doesn't like free stuff? I mean, something for nothing. Who could say no to that? That sounds like a great deal. Well, the US statesman Benjamin Franklin said that in life there are two things that are certain, and those are death and taxes. Every single thing that the government gives you has a tax associated with it. There's no such thing as government money or state funding. There's the people's money, and the government are just unnecessary middlemen. All that they can do is give you back your own money with strings attached. After they've lined their own pockets, of course. That's an important step of the process too. But what Mr. Franklin could never have foreseen is a situation where a government can tax you after your death. So what am I talking about here? Well, we now have these absurd levies that they call the inheritance tax. You spend your whole life working hard to provide for your family, putting in decades of service to the economy and your community, all while being taxed up to the eyeballs by one expansionist government after another. But you do it anyway, you put up with that for a lifetime. And then finally, when you're on your deathbed and you have a little bit of a nest egg saved up for your children after you're gone, the government will dip their grubby hands into your pocket one last time from beyond the grave. Your corpse isn't even cold yet, and they're already rifling through your pockets looking for their cut of what you earned. It's appalling. And this happens to Irish citizens every single day of the week. You can't even escape these politicians in debt. Coming down from Europe now, we have this carbon tax. They're going to charge you and punish you for driving to work, which disproportionately affects people in rural areas who don't have adequate public transport. Property tax, VAT, income tax. Everybody talks about the roads that Europe gave us, but never about the tolls that you pay to drive on them. These are the same people who make you pay for the TV license fee so that they can fund their propaganda wing, RTE, to lie to you. They want to charge you for the water that you drink, and if they could, they charge you for the very air that you breathe. So the next time you hear these snake oil salesmen talk about free this and free that, you'll know the truth. They are giving you your own money back with strings attached. Nothing from the government is free, and anybody who tells us otherwise is a con artist. They are lying to the people and deliberately trying to bribe them with the promise of shiny trinkets. And what is it that they're spending your money on? I mean, at least it's going to a good cause, right? Well, the health service is crippled. We have about 500,000 people on outpatient waiting lists. Women are dying in their droves from inaccurate smear test results. We have 8,000 people on trolleys per month. They barely started to build this new children's hospital, and it's already cost the Irish taxpayer €2 billion. That number is likely to increase, by the way. And of course, the housing market. Our young people can't find affordable homes. The cost of rent is on the rise. We have 10,000 homeless people on our streets, 3,000 of which are children. The armed services are massively underfunded. Our nurses and midwives are fleeing the country. Can you think of a facet of our society that is actually functioning correctly? It's a shambles. The entire thing from top to bottom is a disaster. For all the taxes and levies and charges that they've introduced, where has your money gone? Well, certainly they can find the money for Michael D. Higgins, the champagne socialist of the Labour Party, to fly around in his jet and stay at five-star hotels on your tax money. There's money for that. No worries there. So they call themselves public servants, but they live like kings at your expense. With all of this, what do we have to show for it? A national debt of €215 billion and not much else. A load of inefficient rubbish run by incompetent, corrupt politicians. And these are the people that we want to entrust with our education, with our housing, with our health. I wouldn't trust them to mind my dog, let alone anything anywhere near that important. I trust the Irish people with those things, but I don't trust politicians. After the crash, the value-added tax was increased from 21% to 23%, and they claimed that it was a temporary emergency measure. Well, here we are a decade later, and that number never went down. It's still at the higher rate to this day. That's more promises made and more promises broken. So a vote for the establishment parties is a vote for more state controls, and that's a simple fact. That's undeniable at this point. The state has gotten out of control in this country. True liberty is not just the freedom from foreign control like the EU, though that is vital. It's also the freedom of the individual to live their life without the state breathing down their neck. The 1916 patriots did not die so that we could be controlled by Brussels or by a bunch of blue shirts in the Dáil. Those heroes died so that you and I could choose our own destiny and live our own lives. These leaders, they think that we're a country of slaves that are given allowances. If they're in a generous mood, then maybe they'll allow us to keep a portion of our own wealth. How very kind of them. What a bunch of sweethearts they are. They think that we, the people, are so dense that they can waste our money, ruin our standard of living, and we'll keep voting for them anyway and giving them even more power. They think that they can rely on your vote come hell or high water. In short, they have forgotten who their bosses are. They have forgotten who elected them in the first place. And they've forgotten who brought the government into the world. Well, as my mother used to say when I was a child, I brought you into this world and I can take you out. Come election time, this government better batten down the hatches because there is a political storm coming that they aren't ready for. The people have had enough of the lies. Part of why I joined the Irexit Freedom Party is because they are a small government, low tax party that seeks to return power to the Irish people where it belongs. I'm not here to offer you free stuff. I won't insult your intelligence or lie to you like that. But what I will offer you is the right to keep more of what you earn. No government official will come along and take your inheritance away. No taxman will financially punish you for owning a house. When you get home after a hard day of honest work and sit down and look at your paycheck, you'll be able to say, this is mine. I earned this. Nobody's going to come along after the fact and say, oh, you forgot to pay your breathing license, cough up. It'll be yours, just like this country is yours. And that might not sound so glamorous to some people, but it's honest, and I think that politics needs a little bit more of that. This is a rebel country of free men and women who won their dignity fair and square through hard work. We didn't tolerate abuse from the British Empire. We don't tolerate abuse from Brussels, and we won't tolerate abuse from Leo Varadkar or Micheál Martin either. I dream of an Ireland where Irish men and women are allowed to enjoy the fruits of their own labour and of a state that allows the people to thrive and reach their full potential. My friends, does that sound like a free Ireland to you?
Yes.
Then, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Irexit Freedom Party. God bless you and Aaron Gabra.